Hi YouTube, this is Julian Bradley, got another jazz tutorial. Today I thought I'd talk about montunos. Montunos you find in Latin jazz, they're basically this. Okay, so in the first part of this video I'm going to talk about what I call simple montunos. Basically a quick fix if you're not too bothered about the theory. I'll just show you some shapes that you can use in your jazz playing. The second part of the video I'm going to talk about what I call complicated montunos, and I'm going to show you the actual theory, how you write your own, and how they work for any chord sequence, and how you can put it to any chord sequence that you want. Okay, so to start with simple montunos, I'll show you basically you're arpeggiating the chord symbol in different ways. So if we start with a C major, so we've got a C major 6 chord. Just starting on the root, the C, going up to the major third, down to the 5th, and to the 6th. Now notice the left hand, the bass part is quite an unusual rhythm, and it did take me quite a few minutes to learn this when I first started playing. So at the end of the video I'll actually just loop the bass line and you can just get used to the rhythm. But this is basically it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you just arpeggiate it, or you're just playing the root and the 5th of the chord. So in C major that's C, G, C. Sometimes bass players go up to the 9th as well. But the simple version is up to the C. If you find that difficult, just play crotchets. Okay, but if you can, I suggest you play the authentic rhythm. Okay, so we got C major. What if we wanted to make that a dominant 7? Just change the A natural for B flat. If we wanted to make it a minor 7, you could do that. Just make the E natural an E flat. But also, what I actually prefer on a minor chord is to play the major 6th and the minor 3rd. So you've got a sort of minor 6 chord that you're arpeggiating. Now, the next step that you do is you know, what makes it interesting is when the chord changes, you sort of do these acrobatics and you jump around to the different chords. So say we've got a chord progression of C minor going to D half diminished to G dominant 7, back to C, how would we arpeggiate that in a montuno? We'd do this. So C on the C minor chord, we're arpeggiating the C minor 6 chord. Then on the 2 half diminished, the D half diminished, doing the same pattern but just put up a tone. And then for the G, we're actually just doing the closest note, which is a B. another chord sequence we could do is, if you're in a major, say we've got C major, going to D minor, back to C major. Okay, so those are quite straightforward to place over any chord sequence, and there aren't really any rules particularly. You can just trust your ear and listen to plenty of Latin jazz to get an idea fairly quickly. But I want to move on to the more complicated type of montuno, which I think are sort of more interesting. So this is how they sound. Okay, I'll show you how they work. So first of all, these work best on cycle of fifths, so that's no problem in jazz. Most chord sequences are cycle of fifths. Basically, the left hand's straightforward, it's the same as what I just showed you. And what you do is you take the basic chord, so if we've got a C minor 7, these are the notes, C, E flat, G and B flat. And we're basically going to break that chord into two, and how you do it is you play the 7th and then enclose the 3rd and the 5th, and the bass line plays the C. Okay, so now we've got basically two parts of the chord. We've got this note and we've got this enclosed note, the 3rd and the 5th, so just think, start on the 7th and then play 3rd and the 5th. And so basically you move the outside one down, keep the inside the same, then you move the inside down, keep the outside the same, move the outside, so it's this sort of pattern. That sort of pattern. This is for the A half diminished 7, which is 2-5-1 of, we're in G minor by the way. Okay, so that end was a 2-5-1 in G minor. Got A half diminished. Got D dominant 7, and you keep the inside one the same. Gives you this flat 9. And then to end it, I might actually just end on the G instead of, but you could carry on the pattern further. You can go on forever, just cycle of fifths, and often, I mean, I've done an entire, cycle of fifths, but often you just get, the 2-5-1. So once again, the basic theory is that you split the chord up into two parts. Now, the actual rule is you can build them off the 7th, which I recommend, but you can also build them off the 3rd, but I don't think the 3rd sounds as strong. And of course, if you build them off the 7th, you find that the next chord, you have actually built it off the 3rd. Off the 7th, I'm talking about this enclosed octave, which you don't have to play as an octave, you can just play it like that. But notice, this is how they work. So you start on the 7th of the chord, so B flat is the 7th of C minor, and then it moves down to the 3rd of F dominant 7. Then that same A becomes the 7th, the major 7th of B flat major. Then you play the major 3rd of E flat major, it's G. And then that G becomes the 7th of A half diminished. Then that F sharp becomes the major third of D dominant 7, which is the dominant 7 preceding the G minor to end with, and then I suggest ending on the G. So as you notice with cycle of fifths, you're always sort of descending and getting lower and lower and lower. So once you get fairly low, you want to do what's called a turnaround and come back up. And all I do with montunos is something like that. Okay. Now I've shown you how to play it with the left hand playing the bass. So you'd only do that if you're playing solo Latin piano. But ideally you'd be playing in a sort of quartet or a ensemble, and in that case you'd have a bass player playing the bass line. And what you'd want to do, because Latin bands are quite loud, you really need to be heard on the piano. So what tends to happen is piano players double it up to 4 octaves. Just to be heard. If you don't want to play all 4 octaves, you can just do 3. So have the left hand play. Okay. Another variation I've heard is when piano players play in thirds, so they play their montunos a third apart. So say we've got a C minor, chord symbol. What could you do? You could do that in the right hand, which I've shown you. So take the C, what's down a third, A, and this inside voicing E flat and G, third down, get a C and E flat. So that's a slightly different sound. You could also do play this. Or you can also arpeggiate these the in-between notes. So you do like a combination of just playing it straight and arpeggiating it when you want more energy. They're quite good to put in solos as well. I do that quite a lot. Any Latin jazz you hear, often the piano player, they'll do a bit of a solo, and then in the middle of the solo they'll go mental on the montunos. Another variation you can take the montuno rhythm and apply it to what are called shell voicings. Shell voicings are just 3-note chords, usually played in the left hand, where you play the root, the 7th and the 3rd, which are the 3 most important notes of the chord. Like that. And one final variation, so I've shown you on these complicated montunos, this inside note I've said play the 3rd and the 5th, but another variation, sometimes piano players play just the 3rd and the 4th. So what you do only works on the minor chords. That wouldn't work, but on a major, but on the minor, thanks for watching. This is Julian Bradley. Check out my other videos on jazz, piano and harmony, and post any questions you have below the video.